Okay, spotting subject matter experts. Present company excluded. Oftentimes when people are asked to speak at conferences, they are subject matter experts. Well, people over there who are going to talk to you later are subject matter experts. But, you know, let's face it, we go to conferences because we think people who are speaking have some expertise. Now, the problem with just searching the conference agenda for the current conference is it's a very limited sample. So I want to use GigaBlast because it has a very unique feature. If you can find a conference that has subject matter experts in a particular kind of field that you're looking for talent in, you can actually go back in time and data mine the previous speakers at that conference. So you focus in on a cluster of speakers going back into time to look for a certain kind of subject matter expert. Let me show you how it works. Here's GigaBlast, and let's say I'm looking for Java programmers. Okay, so using Boolean syntax, quotation marks, Java programming, quotation marks, and then all I add is speakers. That's all I'm going to tell GigaBlast to do. Search results come back. I've got 3,091 documents that GigaBlast has identified that has the term Java programming and speakers. And every one of those entries has two kinds of links. One is called cached, and one is called older copies. So the first thing I want to do is I want to look at cached, because that's the most current list of speakers. Okay? So I could take the Java World, I could take the Michigan Engineering Distinguished Speaker Series. I picked the Colorado Software Summit, and here is the agenda sorted by speaker name. Now look what I get. I not only get their name, but almost always it will tell you where they're working, and then by virtue of the topic they're speaking on, you can pre-qualify them for your particular position. You're not interested in just any old Java programmer. You might be interested in one that has some expertise in Ajax, or some expertise in XML, or some expertise in advanced user interface. So given their topics, you can drill down further to pre-qualify them in terms of their expertise. But then the other thing you can do is you can say, you know what? If speakers have been asked back, that's also some indication of their quality. So we can not only look at what they're speaking about today, but thanks to the Wayback Machine, go back in time and look for speakers that have spoken previously. These are the search results of that very same conference going all the way back to 1997. Okay? So I just happened to pick from the year 2000. Here's the agenda by speaker again. Again, we have their topics, so we can do that pre-qualifying sort. And there's my old buddy Noel Bergman again, still at DevTech. So he's been there 5 years. He's ready to move. Okay? I can recruit that sucker. Okay? So the cluster, again, is speakers. And what I'm doing is I'm using a search engine to go back in time to data mine into that particular cluster. Looking for lists of leads. How many times have you gone to a meeting of your professional association or even to a committee meeting in your company? What's the first thing you do? You pass around a pad, everybody writes their name and contact information, because the whole purpose is to make sure that the group stays connected after the meeting's over, right? So now, since we're all web literate, what do we do with that list? Put it in a fancy little Excel spreadsheet, and we post that sucker on the web. And as soon as you do, I can find it. Okay? So all of these meetings that are held that generate an attendance roster that get posted on the web to encourage networking, we can use to find candidates. We're going to use a Boolean operator called file type :XLS. We're looking for a certain kind of file, an Excel spreadsheet on the web, and then we're going to add some keywords to tell the search engine what kind of keywords or what kind of Excel spreadsheet we're looking for. So let's say I'm looking for someone who's a benefits administrator. Okay? I would go file type :XLS, and then in quotation marks, benefits department. You could put benefits administration, whatever you want. And then I get 55 documents. Now here's the downside to this particular technique. In almost all cases, the search results don't give you a lot of information about the particular topic, the particular focus, the particular subject matter that created this list, that led to the development of this list. So you might look at things like where the list was located. If you're trying to find candidates in a particular location, the description of the document will almost always give you a location. You might also look at the source of the document, the California State University at Chico. If you're in California or you're looking for a candidate that comes out of academia, that might give you a hint. But you got 55 documents to look at, and I clicked on sheet 1, and look at that. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. We have the name of the person, his or her agency affiliation. So we have Franklin Hospital, Addis Healthcare, Franklin Williamson Human Services. We have their street address, we have their city, we have their telephone number, and we have their email address. What more could you ask for? The only other thing that oftentimes is included in these lists is their title, which makes it even easier to decide which people you might want to contact. There were 98 names on this list. 98 people who had some connection with benefits department. And if I'm a hospital looking for a benefits administrator, you know, that's a pretty good source of talent. Any question? That's all I'm going to cover on data mining, because as I said, I think it's something that you probably ought to do, but I think it's something that you ought to do very, very carefully to make sure that, given your limited times and resources, you get as much productivity out of that as possible. So what I want to spend my last segment on is talking about relationship building. If you believed my proposition earlier that one of the attributes of the best talent is that they listen to their mother, they don't speak to strangers, then what we need to do is to find a way to build the two pillars of a relationship. Anybody in here ever been in a relationship? Okay. What do we know about relationships? They are hard work and they take time. Okay? And the two pillars of a relationship are familiarity and trust. That's what we have to build. Familiarity and trust. And we have to do that time efficiently. Now, you can build familiarity and trust one-on-one, face-to-face, in meetings, on the telephone, the old-fashioned way, and I think you should continue to do that. But I want to suggest that we need to use the web to enhance your capability. In fact, let me tell you another story. Back when I was in college, I played on my school's handball team. Anybody else in here play handball? As you can see, it's a wildly popular sport. Okay. Handball is a sport played in an enclosed court like squash or racquetball. It's usually played at the club level. So one Saturday, I got out on the court down here at the Downtown Athletic Club, home of the Heisman. I looked across at my opponent, and he was elderly, short, plump, and bald. With all the hubris of youth, I thought to myself, this is going to be great. I'm going to do a job on this old guy. And I noticed as he was warming up that he had a weakness. He favored his right hand. Now, handball is a sport you play with both hands. So we started the match, and every single time I hit the ball, I played into that right corner, forcing that old guy to use his right arm, right hand, over and over again. I made him go to his right hand. 45 minutes later, I walked off the court, thoroughly humbled. This old guy trounced me. I looked across the court. He didn't look so short and plump, and I loved his haircut. But we got in the locker room, and he told me three things I've never forgotten. First is, he was 62 years old. Second was, he was the East Coast senior champion in handball. The third was, he was right-handed.